When parties reach a settlement, one common way to document or publicize the settlement is a press release. Now, what I'm going to do is show you the typical format a press release takes. In addition, I'll show you a few press releases that you can see the format used over and over and over again. It's pretty standard, but let's go through the elements that you'll see in a press release. So first, at the top, you'll have the logo and the name of the issuer. So this could be like the Department of Justice, Monsanto, the University of California, whatever. Whoever is issuing the press release would be at the top. Then next is, when does the issuer of the press release want this release issued to the world? Meaning, sometimes they'll put an embargo on it, meaning I'm sending it to you, reporter, so that way you can get your news article ready to go, so that when the time comes or when the event happens, then yours could be the first article out there. And so you'll get the most clicks. So it's a win-win both for me and for you. Because my objective of a press release is to get it out to the world. And your objective is to get clicks or page views. So that works. So is it going to be released immediately, or is it at a set time or event? Next is to have a catchy title to get the reporter's attention. And the idea here is reporters and editors get so many press releases, they're inundated by them. There are agencies out there called like PR Newswire, where it's just a feed of press releases. And you need to figure out a way to distinguish your press release from all the others. And that's where the catchy title comes in. It's no different than what newspapers and news organizations have to do in order to get you to click on an article. So whether you're looking at Yahoo as to what the latest articles are, or looking at the New York Times or some other site, a press release serves basically the same function. Sorry, one second. And I'll just give you an example of that. So I'm just pulling up Yahoo. And so the idea is, if you are the person in charge of Yahoo, you have all of these articles here. And now you have an idea of when I recorded this based on the articles that are showing up. And there needs to be a catchy title for me to get to click on it. And that's the same thing with a press release. There's just so much information and it needs a catchy title. And underneath that catchy title are sometimes longer titles, or a bit longer information that you use to decide whether you want to click on it. And another difference is press releases don't usually have photos with them, whereas news articles have photos, and that's also a basis for clicking and getting your attention. All right, so catchy title, longer subtitle. So a catchy title could be U.S. settles, or let me rephrase it. U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York protects consumers yet again. And the longer subtitle is the U.S. Attorney for SDNY and X and Y Corporation have agreed to settle a securities fraud claim for $2 million. Something like that. Next is the date. So the date that the press release is issued. Location. So here it would be New York, New York. Just usually city and state if the city's not obvious enough. Like Las Vegas is obvious where it is. As with everything, a hook sentence. You need a sentence that draws people in to want to read. Again, reporters are getting so many press releases. You need to draw their attention. You need to get them engaged and wanting to read more. And think of it like a pyramid. So at the top, you have the hook sentence, and as they keep reading, they build on that pyramid. So that way they get more and more information. And the idea is if they stop after the second paragraph or so, you want them to have enough info that they have a clue what's going on, but ideally keep reading. So you have your hook sentence, a high-level summary. You have some detail with a quote. Ideally, you have 2 quotes in a press release from 2 different people. Keep adding to the detail. And then it could be enough detail that if the editor didn't have space, they could cut it out. But if they did have space, you'd love for it to get in. Be aware that there's some news organizations that will print a press release as if it's from a staff reporter, and they'll just copy and paste the entirety of it. And so that's great for you, the person issuing the press release, to get that out. Then you want some visual mark to indicate a separation of the press release from the about information. So that could be hashtags, it could be dashes, spaces, just something that they know is no longer part of the press release. And then it would be about information. It's usually 1 to 2 sentences about who the issuer is, along with the contact information, meaning like email, URL, Twitter handles, anything that if the reporter wants to contact the issuer, they now know how to do it. So that way the issuer can make it more likely that a reporter is going to run with a news story about the press release. So that in a nutshell is what goes into a press release. Now we'll take a look at a few examples